what are you doing now? Are all the doors of the building being locked?
We're closing the office at the authorization of the Commissioner of the Department of Public Welfare, and I understand that the owner of the building has asked that we close the building.
Have you been in contact with Austin on this constantly?
We talked together about closing the office since we may have more visitors than we can accommodate here, and we aren't really being able to help anybody else, and it seems better just to close up.
As a part of the Thanksgiving season, I'm expressing my thanks for black mothers who have the courage to protest what they believe is rightfully theirs. I am a member of the Perkins School of Theology community, but my individual act does not necessarily reflect the official position of the school.
Have you all come down here to stay with the group?
Well, that's not really decided yet. That may be necessary if they lock the doors outside.
As it looks right now, about all I can do is simply express to some individual from the state agency the things that I have heard from these people here. And I would hope that as a result of this, I might be able to bring together somebody to whom they will listen, and somebody who will listen to them as they express their problems, and give these people some kind of answer to the questions that they are raising. They have legitimate needs, they have legitimate concerns, and certainly they ought to be heard. And I think, as I understand it, and I'm not an authority, but as I listen to these people, I feel that one of the greatest disappointments they have is that they are not being listened to. Nobody who has authority, who can make decisions, has come in to talk with them and hear their grievances.
I am very optimistic that we will not have to increase the state sales tax during the next session of the legislature, and I'm also even more optimistic that Texas is still a long way away from a state income tax.
Well, how is new money going to be raised?
I think the legislature will use a selective tax bill. I think the sales tax or taxes may be increased on various and sundry selective items, but I don't think there will be an increase in the general sales tax.
What about taking some of the exemptions off on the
There's
tax?
a possibility that some of the exemptions will be taken off. I think that the legislature will think a long time, though, before they take the exemptions off of food and prescription drugs.
The cold weather, do you think that perhaps the plane went down and he might be there?
We have very little hope of him being alive, if that's what you mean.
Would you just like to find him?
Yes, certainly would.
We'd like to know what happened, if it was plane failure, or if something happened to the pilot, if they got too low and hit a tree, or just what happened.
You'd like to find him so you know for sure.
Yes.
How do you feel, or how did you...
Well, when we first went up there, the Civil Air Patrol seemed to think they would find him in a few days. And then after 10 days, I think they decided it was hopeless, as far as they were concerned. I mean, they couldn't continue to fly without having some clue or some idea where to look.
Well, at this point, if they think it's hopeless, why is it important for you all to continue if you think he may be dead, as you said you did?
Well, we don't want him lying out on the ground someplace.
It's important at this point for you to bury him?
We can't even have a Christian burial for him. So we have to find him.
before we leave this place, these things are gonna be done, or we don't go nowhere. We are tired. We will sit here, we will stand here until I won't have no power left. And guess what? We got black power, that's down a long way. We are tired of being pushed around. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna get that anymore. Now you know how to get in touch with these people's hands is not tied, because these people down here say that this welfare office down here, their hands are tied. So what I want you to do, you get on that phone, you get somebody down here that hands not tied. Because these people's hands here tied. We tied our hands being tied.
I have 4 kids, and they know my husband is going to the pen. I've been down here and I told them. But they keep telling me, you gonna get some, when I'm gonna get it. I guess they're gonna wait till I go to the hospital and have this baby. But I'm like everybody else. I be down here every day. I might have this baby down here, but I'm still coming. Cause we got to fight all the right. And I don't care what nobody said, I'm coming down here every day. If I lay right here on this floor and have this baby, I'll be down here. Cause these folks got to do something. These folks got to do something for me. They white, I'm white too.
Well, I think that all of the people that are concerned right now, I can appreciate their concern, but they must realize that the legislature has done all that they can do under our constitutional limitation of $60 million. The legislature tried to increase this $15 million to $75 million, and the voters of Texas rejected this. So really the hands of the local welfare officials and the state legislature are tied until the people of Texas increase the welfare limitation.
Well, do you think there'll be efforts made again during the next session to raise the welfare payments?
Yes, I think there will be, and I think the legislature will probably submit to the people another constitutional amendment in 1969 or 1970 increasing the welfare.
How do you know the dimension and the scale and the size, and whether you provide 100, 200, 500 cars per gate? How do we find this out? Well, there have been several approaches. Probably the easiest, most logical approach is to ask the economists and the long-range planners, and somebody comes up with a projection of traffic. And then you take the projection of traffic and you go through all sorts of numbers, and you get all sorts of answers. What we, in effect, have done here, working with the Regional Airport Board, and in particular with Tom Sullivan, who's the director there, and with TANS, we have taken maximum saturation.
The most interesting thing is that we have found something about the conditions actually existing on the surface of that planet. And it has turned out that the surface is a quite impossible place by our standards, in that the temperature is something like 700 degrees. The pressure of the atmosphere is about 75 times as great as it is at sea level here on Earth. And the nature of the atmosphere is that it's about 80 or 90% carbon dioxide. Quite obviously, man could not live on the surface of Venus.
So that makes Mars the most interesting target right now.
Yes, Mars, I think, is the most interesting target from the point of view of life. The
voting here today is on a recommendation by the Student Congress at the University of Texas at Arlington that the rebel theme be dropped as the designation here. On the ballot are 36 suggested changes. Also, there's space for write-in suggestions as a new theme for the university. There are strong feelings on both sides of this issue.
Well, I think the school theme and summer should be removed from this university from the simple fact that everybody on this campus is a part of this campus, and the theme is alienating some people from the campus activities, and that people that support this school are black and white, and no one has the right to make these people stop coming to this campus. This flag and theme is creating and condoning an atmosphere where communication between black and white is impossible, and unity on this campus is impossible.
One of the major issues is that people say that when they see the rebel flag or hear Dixie, first thing that comes to their mind is racism, and this isn't true. The rebel theme and Dixie inspires spirit. It makes you want to yell, and I don't see any reason to change it at all.
Edward Harris.
Not in here.
Blake Pierre.
Is there any Blake Pierre here? No.
Jay Sumners. Paul Brannon.
No. Paul Brannon wasn't here at all.
Marvin Lair. Michael Lair.
No.
Marvin Lair.
No.
Gentlemen, you got some John Doe papers? Yes, sir. Serve John Doe paper.
What will your advice be to these people now that have been served?
I would like time to study this document more carefully and prepare an answer which I intend to present to the judge tonight, asking him to stay the execution and enforcement of this until there have been provided and afforded a fair hearing in his court.
Why do you think the rebel theme should be continued?
Well, tradition for one thing, and respect for the alumni, the ex-lettermen, and the veterans associations around here that have that are affiliated with UTA. In the past, they've always stuck with this theme, and they haven't been subjected to people coming in from the outside and just asking them to change, because they're not going to go out and ask them to change their ways of living and their opinions on life.
We'll continue tomorrow. Ken Witt, the Director of Information, predicts that there may be 4,000 votes cast out of a student body of 12,500. A normal amount to vote in a student election is 2,000. The general feeling is that the rebel theme will be kept for the University of Texas at Arlington. In a similar election 3 years ago, the margin was 4-1 in favor of keeping the rebel. It may be closer this time. The final decision, however, will be up to the Board of Regents. They will consider the matter when they meet in January. Incidentally, the results of the voting today and tomorrow will not be known until next week because of the Thanksgiving holidays. This is Roger McDonald, Channel 8 News.